It's kind of an old video, but we could watch this. Chinese Firewall is good, actually. We could, but I might disagree with it. I want the Chinese digital shit posters to overwhelm us all.
If you spend any time on political YouTube, you've likely come across countless lazy, oversimplified videos portraying the Chinese government as an oppressive regime that brutally censors the internet to keep its population in the dark. Western media...
By the way, I'm going to China in October, right? I don't think I'll be able to stream. Because Twitch is banned. Twitch is blocked. It would have been so fucking cool to stream from China. Just use VPN. I'm not sure I can VPN my way out of streaming it out. I will definitely try it. Okay? I will definitely try it. Bilibili. But yeah, but you guys aren't on Bilibili. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Or I can have someone like off-site streaming my stream, right? Somebody off-site can stream my stream. iShowSpeed did it. True, yeah. Okay, then it might be possible. Okay, I'll either restream a Bilibili stream or I will stream directly. So subscribe right now so that I can have proper equipment in China, maybe even for IRL streams, and for those pesky, expensive VPNs. It's going to be live. I'm going to be shooting from the hotel room, a beautiful Beijing behind me, and the Chinese SWAT team will break in the doors. We heard somebody streaming on an illegal platform here. Tap, 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 tap. And I'm like, no, I'm a communist. No. Why is he speaking English? Did you meet up with Ben Norton? I might. Why not? But keep in mind, this is a very romantic gift that my fiance gave me for my birthday. So I want to spend most of it with her and not make it into a work thing. Parent minority chat, let's go. Still writing Hakim's code for VPNs on my subscription. Poll results are inaccurate because many of us couldn't vote. Also, there's more breeders, you're trying to say. If you repeat Xi's name 3 times in the camera, he will turn up during streaming or a farm in the background. Imagine there's just a Xi Jinping just like standing in the background.
Constantly pushes the narrative that Chinese internet restrictions are inherently bad, claiming that Chinese people live in an information bubble, have no knowledge of the outside world, and lack the ability to voice concerns. They're all wrong. These criticisms don't come from a place of genuine concern for the Chinese people. Instead, they stem from a deeply ingrained sense of Western superiority. The idea that the free Western internet is the golden standard and that Western...
Fucking poisoned Redditoids, dude. I fucking hate them so fucking much. Like, 90% of the Chinese Red Scare literally just gets farmed on Reddit. The easiest way to have like 1 billion karma is to just constantly post about how China very bad. Very oppression, very 1984. China didn't in 11. Bro, could you get a cardboard standee of Xi aura farming and put it in the background? That's the best fucking idea. That's the best fucking idea. I'll give you this. I'll give you this. If we hit today's sub goal, I'm crossing myself in front of you. If we hit today's sub goal, I am going to get a Xi Jinping cardboard. Now you have me live saying this. Cardboard cutout, and I'm going to put it in the background. If we hit today's sub goal, I'm fucking doing it. There you go. It's a signed contract. I said it out loud. Rename the thing too. Wait. 1 second. That's a good idea. There we go. I'm even going to rename it. Wait. All widgets. Where is it? Sub goal. End goal. But I got to end it to rename it. Xi Jinping cardboard cutout goal. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. There. There, it's on the screen now as well. We hit that target. I am gonna spawn Xi Jinping himself in front of me, and he's gonna aura farm every time I stream. And I'll let you guys pick out, like, help me find the proper picture of Xi Jinping. Deal? Is that deal? That's a deal.
Western democracy is the only legitimate form of governance. However, with every passing day, this claim becomes more impossible to defend. The illusion of free speech in the West is...
There's some China Twitch streamers live IRL ones too, so VPN probably works. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Then it's going to work. Then I'm going to stream. That's going to be brilliant.
Rapidly crumbling as social media platforms are openly manipulated by their billionaire owners and as Western governments increasingly suppress dissenting voices, especially when it comes to correctly critiquing them for supporting a side. All the way to the extent that you will...
Thank you, Barry Balls, for making me buy a Xi Jinping cardboard cutout. I have no idea where I'm even going to get that, but I'm going to do it.
Lose your job, diploma, or
You
even
reset the sub count, it automatically resets. I can't do anything about that.
be deported for being
So if we get to 92, I remember the 8. If we get to 92.
mean to a country the US really likes. The reality is that China's internet firewall exists for a reason. Not about controlling the people with some devious repressive intentions in mind, but about protecting social stability, national security, and economic independence. In today's video, we're going to debunk the two biggest misconceptions about China's internet firewall.
Like red cheese.
The first being, the firewall limits Chinese citizens' access to the outside world, keeps them heavily propagandized, and prevents them from understanding other political and economic systems. And number two, that Chinese people have no ability to voice concerns, critique the government, or push for change. Not only will I explain why both of these claims are completely false,
Country with a billion people exists. Hundreds of thousands of Americans. We will form our opinions about you without ever talking to you. And post about it on Reddit and get a lot of karma points, right? Like, there's a billion Chinese people you can talk to. Literally. And there's a million of them, not a million, but there's like 10,000 of them that do English-speaking content from mainland China. So, but no, the American exceptionalism has to seep through every fucking pore of Westerners, man. Thank you, Darkwing Cuck and Red Cheesehead. Thank you very much.
but I'll also break down three major benefits of keeping the US-dominated internet infrastructure out of China without restrictions. Let's get into it. Before debunking the myths about China's internet firewall, let's first establish what it actually is and the historical reasoning behind it. According to the Chinese government, the firewall is designed to censor, block, or filter access to certain categories of content that are deemed harmful to national security and societal well-being. They include the following categories: opposing the fundamental principles of the Constitution, jeopardizing national security, leaking state secrets, subverting state power, or threatening national unity, harming the nation's...
Hey, Xi Jinping, if you're watching this, legalize Twitch, but only for some very particular Twitch streamers, okay? Those who bask under the great sun of the Chinese Revolution.
Honor or interests, inciting...
We will do free propaganda for you 24/7.
hatred, racism, or disrupting ethnic solidarity, disrupting national religious policies, promoting cults or reviving feudal superstitions, spreading rumors, disturbing societal order or undermining social stability, promoting obscenity.
This is crazy because all 7 of these do apply to Twitch.
Pornography, gambling, violence, murder, terrorism, or encouraging criminal activity, insulting
Literally all of this is Twitch.
or defaming third parties, infringing
That's like 90% of Twitch.
on legal rights and interests, and any other content prohibited by law or administrative regulations. The core idea behind these restrictions is preserving social cohesion and national stability. The West serves as a real-time case study of what an unfiltered anything-goes digital environment can lead to: mass polarization, disinformation, social fragmentation, and widespread mental health issues. This is the state of the modern Western internet, an unregulated, hyper-commercialized, and divisive digital space that is widely acknowledged to be harmful to mental health and social cohesion. Compare that to China's internet, which, while regulated, is structured around unity and utility. It prioritizes social stability, fosters national cohesion, and prevents the very problems that have turned much of the Western internet into a toxic battleground of ideological warfare and digital addiction. To fully grasp why China is cautious about unregulated foreign influence, we need to look at its historical context. China's modern resurgence follows a century of national humiliation that lasted from 1839 to 1949. This period was marked by foreign invasions, land seizures, and economic exploitation at the hands of Western powers in Japan. One of the most devastating periods was the Opium Wars, where British waged war against China to force the population into drug addiction. When China resisted, it was brutally defeated and forced into a series of unequal treaties, ceding control over key territories like Hong Kong and granting Western powers near total economic dominance over the Chinese ports. European powers, along with the US and Japan,
They quite literally landlocked it.
carved out spheres of influence within China, controlling trade and resources while the Chinese people suffered. This pattern of foreign exploitation continued well into the 20th century. China was brutally invaded by the Japanese in the 1930s, suffering atrocities like the Nanjing Massacre, where hundreds of thousands were killed. It wasn't until 1949 that China regained sovereignty under its own terms. When viewed through this historical lens, it becomes clear why China is deeply protective of its political and economic independence. Unlike Western nations that have long enjoyed global dominance, China's recent history is one of fighting to reclaim its sovereignty from foreign control. So when Western governments and corporations push for unrestricted influence within China, it is not surprising that the Chinese government and people alike view such efforts with deep skepticism. They've seen firsthand of how unchecked foreign influence can destabilize a nation, and they have no intention of letting history repeat itself. Also, you might be surprised to know that it wasn't China who kicked out American big tech corporations like Meta and Google.
There's a perfect material for a cutout. Oh my god, yes. This goes on the cutout. I mean, if you guys make it, continue without supporting it. This is going to be perfect. This is so mafia. I love it. This is so mafia. It's so mafia. Imagine that standing right there. I would put it right there. Behind the couch. You have the casting couch, and then you have Xi Jinping behind it. Just aura maxing.
American companies voluntarily left the market when they wouldn't follow Chinese terms of service. Meanwhile, other major Western companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla have continued to operate in China by adapting to local regulations. This highlights a key difference in how tech restrictions are often portrayed. While the US has actively banned or restricted Chinese firms like Huawei or TikTok on national security grounds, China's approach has largely been regulatory, leaving companies with a choice to comply or exit. It is entirely understandable why the Chinese government imposes strict regulations on foreign tech companies operating within its borders. Western governments and intelligence agencies have repeatedly used these platforms to influence political movements, destabilize governments, and push for regime change in countries that refuse to align with their interests. This isn't speculation. It's a well-documented strategy that has been carried out numerous times, from Ukraine and Georgia to Romania, many Latin American nations, and beyond.
One doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat,
in fact, Western officials...
The FBI people just searched Bolton's house. Talk about some indirect karma, eh?
Officials and organizations openly discuss and allocate substantial funding towards these goals, framing them as democracy promotion or support for civil society.
First, we thought that getting Guaido to declare himself president would be enough to topple the regime. Then we thought putting aid on the border would be enough. Then we tried to sort of construct a kind of coup in April of last year, and it blew up in our face when all the generals that were supposed to break with Maduro decided to stick with him in the end. We undermined Norway's talks last summer, and then this March we released a transition framework that frankly is almost a carbon copy of the very one that was in front of the parties last year.
When it comes to China, they're not even subtle about their intentions. Think tanks, government agencies, and media outlets frequently call for strategies to weaken or alter the Chinese political system. Given this context, it's hardly surprising that China enforces strict digital sovereignty policies, ensuring that foreign tech companies operating within its borders cannot be used as tools for external political interference. Just last year, the House passed $1.6 billion to deliver anti-China propaganda overseas. Knowing all this, how can you look at that and
Literally.
be like, yep, better let all that shit in?
And they didn't even use different quote-unquote words to describe it. They were like 1.6 billion for anti-China media on the internet.
And without any restrictions, you really can't...
And you really think there's no fucking podcasts and Twitch streamers out here receiving money from that exact budget? Come on, what fucking planet do you live?
blame the government for looking out for its own national interests. If there was a similar authenticated legitimate threat to the US government, you can damn well expect they would crack down on it too. Now that we've established the firewall, what
I mean, they literally pacified TikTok. Like, what are we talking about? TikTok is not the same like from before the close down.
it does and its context, let's debunk the common misconceptions around it. Starting with
My TikTok has become like all the political content I get is regarding Ukraine. Almost zero Palestinian stuff. I just don't get it anymore. It was the opposite before the crackdown.
the first one, that the firewall limits Chinese citizens' access to the outside world, keeps them heavily propagandized, and prevents them from understanding other political and economic systems. Western critics love to claim that the people of China don't have access to the internet, that they're completely cut off from platforms like TikTok and YouTube. The way they describe it, you'd think that the Chinese are living in the Stone Age. This is complete nonsense. China has built their own internet ecosystem that mirrors every function of the Western internet. They have their own versions of Google, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and every other major platform you can
Yeah, but then a Redditor will say, oh, but those are heavily censored.
think of. These apps
They make them use their own apps over in China so that the government can spy on you. While here in the US, we use our own apps almost exclusively and the government can spy on us. And at one time, when somebody just randomly mentioned that TikTok might be sending that information to China instead of our domestic spy agencies, we all collectively lost our shit and we tried to ban the world's most famous platform. What?
offer nearly identical experiences.
Oh my God! This very same thing that we do here in the United States is done somewhere abroad. But don't you know, we are good and they are bad. So when we spy on our citizens, it is good. When they spy on their citizens, it is bad. Authoritarian 1984 man. Thank you, Mitro, for the 9 months. Hope our kid turned out okay. Did you have a nice birthing session? I mean, it's also not needed to spy on people. You can just buy the data from companies spying on us. That as well, yeah. Private enterprises in the West have access to your data as a package as well.
On China's version of TikTok, you'll find the same mix of trends, gaming content, food vlogs, and cringe dance videos. Their version of YouTube, Bilibili, hosts everything from nature documentaries, in-depth political analysis, food bloggers, and travel vlogs. What's especially interesting is the political content. A lot of Westerners might assume that Chinese platforms are filled with anti-American rhetoric, but that's not the case. In fact, political content is relatively balanced, and if anything,
Horse beef! Thank you very much for the 5 burgers. Burger! Thank you very much, horse beef. Thank you very much for contributing to the Xi Jinping cardboard cutout.
even a slightly positive view of America. The harsh
Remember the FBI visited me because they posted a meme on Instagram that was supportive of Luigi? Fucking crazy shit. Are the sub-alerts busted? I mean, I don't know. Did it not say anything? Fucking OBS, bro. Ugh.
harshest takes you'll find tend to be lighthearted or comedic, poking fun at the absurdity of certain American politicians. Surprisingly, Trump is actually quite popular, with Chinese users often finding him funny or entertaining. You'll see edits of him at speeches and clips where he's treated more like a meme than a villain.
Okay, absolutely. Melania said this was okay.
I just got a nice co-star.
China.
We must at all times assume that all electronic communication is compromised. Always, dude. Don't say shit over the phone that you wouldn't say, that you wouldn't want anyone else to hear. That's why I get so freaked out that, for example, people like, not freaked out, but confused, that people like Sex Destiny will, for example, engage with minors on the internet and keep it over text. Like, you want to get caught. That's why I unironically give the pitch that the man has some sort of humiliation fetish. Deep down inside, he wants to get caught. He wants to be stopped. Type shit.
Let's say China. Now, you know,
While Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe. And I'm proud of what he did.
the World Trade Center came down during
all
his
the go
brother's
after
reign.
特朗普，女的一巴掌，男的更是2巴掌。
Joe Biden became mentally impaired. Kamala was born that way. You know what I do with him? Thank you very much,
Oh my god, that was unironically cute. Look, it's like a baby boxing.
You know what I do with him?
This is literally how a baby boxes. Wait, I mean, there's probably a video. Baby boxing.
This little guy was ready to fight.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Literally. Compare this. Wait.
You know what I do with him?
Oh, my bad, bro.
This child is so cute.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it. Go ahead.
So sassy, go queen!
Meanwhile, on Western platforms, it's become a whole genre
Look, energy levels are back, chat. Energy levels are back.
to predict China's imminent collapse, with video after video pushing
It's
the
gonna
same doomsday
collapse!
narratives. You won't find hundreds of why America will collapse videos on Chinese social media.
That would be so funny because those would be correct.
Even
though
though
America's not going to collapse anytime soon, but you know what I mean.
there are plenty of valid criticisms that could be made.
Dude, imagine if China had streets like the drug addicted, homeless, infested streets of America's urban areas. Like if China had like one street like that, they would post about it every single fucking day. It would be. We would never hear the end of it on Reddit, on Twitter, on motherfucking YouTube.
Made. Political discussions are less aggressive, and when they do happen, they tend to be more good faith discussions rather than fear mongering or propaganda. This just goes to show how
That old meme, Americans talking about a very specific American problem, but saying that it's happening in a different country.
much Western media relies on people's lack of
How many years will it take before the U.S. formally, quote-unquote, collapses? I mean, it depends on the definition of collapses. But it's going to take another 30-ish years for it for multipolarity to enter the conversation. 3 decades. 3 decades and we will have a multipolar world. Or we will be fighting each other with sticks and stones. Because the only way for the Americans to stop the rise of many of the BRICS countries, but China specifically, is if they go to war against them. There is no other way. It is an economic inevitability. Okay, either war or okay, they might want to do a coup, but it's impossible to do a coup in China. The intelligence apparatus there is through the fucking roof.
knowledge about the country to paint China as the enemy. The sincerity with which Chinese people engage in diplomacy and discuss global affairs on their platforms feels like someone extending a handshake only to get a punch in the face in return. The whole idea that Chinese people are cut off from the modern world is laughable, and if anything, it's Westerners who are in the dark about what life in China is really like. The brief TikTok ban showed this perfectly, as some Americans who migrated to Chinese platforms discovered that life in China is modern, affordable, and that locals are generally warm and welcoming to foreigners. If you don't believe me, go check out Xiaohongshu, or Red Note as it's called in English, or Bilibili to see for yourself what
Literally 1 month of Americans having access to Red Note destroyed 50 years of Red Scare anti-China propaganda. And don't even get me started on iShowSpeed's China experience. People were genuinely baffled that the Chinese have roads and that don't ride on donkeys, and that there aren't like fully armed, militarized police officers on every fucking corner beating you unless you stand there and salute the flag and say, I love Xi Jinping so much, please don't beat me.
Chinese social media is actually like. You might be surprised at what you might find.
I really think America has made a huge mistake when banning this app, because now that we're all on Red Note, we're actually learning that a lot of the crap that they've been talking about China is absolutely not true.
Remember that era? That was so nice.
We're like, wait a second.
Thank you, decrepit and thin. That's how I like myself too. Thank you for the 4 months. Very, very nice name. Decrepit and thin. I love it.
You guys have universal healthcare? You don't have to
I find it funny that the Red Note migration came about from pure spite. Yeah.
pay for an ambulance when you get picked up to the hospital. You have amazing cars for very low prices. Huawei, the amazing phones they have are also so much better than iPhones. And all of that is forbidden here. We cannot have any of that. Wait a second.
I hate that though. Like I understand her intention is okay, but I hate that she's immediately making it about consumption and products. Oh my God, they have better treats than we do. Like that is to be America pilled. Standards of life are defined through how good the treats are, or how expensive the treats are. Right? It's.
You can walk at night outside and not be afraid. There's no mass
That
unalivings
one,
in
for
schools.
example, is good. That one is very good.
What? what? What's that like? And I had someone comment on my red note being like, now that you're here, I hope you can see that we're not the beasts that, your news made us seem to be. And I was like, we never thought you guys were. I feel like we always knew it was bullshit. And yeah, no country's perfect. There's a lot of issues everywhere in this world. But it's very interesting. We're learning much more, I think, than they wanted us to know.
And yet here we are learning about how affordable their cost of living is. How 90% of people in China own the place that they live in. How they don't really have homeless people. They don't have a drug problem. Like, their groceries are affordable. They only have to work one job in order to pay their bills. They were confused about having to pay for an ambulance ride. They literally have universal health care. Our government decided that in order to get us to not want communism, they had to make it seem like it was this big, scary, crazy thing.
Okay, I'm sorry, but what makes me skeptical is there's magically no misogyny there. Why would it be safer at night? It's safer at night here. That doesn't mean that there's no misogyny. Just people are like, I don't know, there's no culture of attacking or mogging people, right? And because there's a larger safety net, there's less criminality and there's less, homeless people, there's less drug addicted people that are in a state of psychosis walking the streets. Stuff like that. Like, it's just safer. There's cameras everywhere. The police aren't just sitting in their car eating fucking donuts looking for the next minority to beat the shit out of. Stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen it, but a bunch of new art has appeared around the place you picked for the program. Yeah, I saw it. It's expanding. It's expanding. Somebody give me a link. Let's get an update. Yeah, for example, I don't know, the decrepit, evil, violent world of the Balkans, for example, is brutally safe, incredibly safe when it comes to walking around at night and stuff like that. Because people have homes and jobs. Even though we're an impoverished place, we're still, on average, safer than somebody living in an urban area in the United States.
And to basically shield us from it. And look, we're literally talking to people that live under that type of government, and they're happy. They're happy, and they cannot believe how Americans are letting America run. And they feel sorry for us. That's sad.
Chinese people are also some of the most well-traveled in the world. In 2023 alone, mainland Chinese citizens made 206 million international trips.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, we saw it. We saw it. Looks very good.
To put that into perspective,
I made a doohickey too.
the entire population of the United States is about 345 million. And yet, despite experiencing the world firsthand, all 206 million of those Chinese travelers chose to come home. Not because they were forced to, but because the quality of life in China is high. Beyond tourism, China has one of the largest groups of international students in the world. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Chinese students enroll in Western universities.
Yup, we're still in Chattanooga.
Gaining access to a vast range of academic perspectives, many of which are openly critical of China. Yet after spending years immersed in these environments, 90% of them return home. Tens of millions of Chinese citizens have studied abroad or are currently pursuing degrees in the West. The idea that they're simply brainwashed or lack knowledge to the
I see what you're trying to do, Pukovnik.
outside world.
I'll still do it though, because I want to see what it is. It doesn't go hard anymore though. It doesn't go hard because Assad got Assaded. So, who has to go? I mean, he went. So the joke doesn't land as well anymore.
Especially when compared to Americans, is completely unfounded. In fact, I would confidently argue that the average Chinese citizen, particularly young people, have a far more accurate understanding of global affairs than an average American. China's education system...
Okay, that's not a flex. That's just not being a fucking troglodyte.
...despite its intensity, is one of the best in the world. In my personal conversations with Chinese people, I found...
And Americans in particular have the worst understanding of the non-American world on the planet. To them, the United States is the main game. Everything else is a cheap DLC knockoff.
And that they often have a stronger
real world. You know the classic of men think that men are the standard, or white men think that white men are the standard type shit. Well, Americans think that America is the standard. The American life is the normal life, Every other place, every other culture, every other way of life. That's weird. That's alternative. That's spicy or cold or whatever.
Grasp of current geopolitics, world history, and even American history than many Americans themselves. Check out interviews on the channel Asian Boss and see how informed they are. Chinese students are taught about key moments in US history from the Revolutionary War to the Civil Rights Movement and generally have a nuanced understanding of how different political systems function. Ironically, while Americans tend to see communism through the lens of decades of Cold War era propaganda, Chinese people actually approach the topic with a more balanced, pragmatic perspective. They don't just blindly claim that communism is superior, nor do they try to impose their ideology on others. Instead, it's often Westerners who feel the need to aggressively defend capitalism and impose their worldview on Chinese people.
That's called insecurity, my friend. An entire nation of insecurity.
Reality is that Chinese people simply believe that
obviously there's a lot of based Americans. Some of you are in chat as well, but you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. It's not you.
Their system works for their country, while Americans, despite being typically less informed, tend to be far more defensive about their own system. That being said, Chinese people are generally far less political than Americans. This isn't just unique to China. It's a broader trend across East Asia, in Japan, and Korea as well. Compared to the US, where people across the political spectrum, young and old, are deeply ingrained in political debates. The average Chinese citizen simply doesn't think about politics on a daily basis. Instead, their focus is on education, work, family, and enjoying life. And
yeah, it's a privilege to not have to think about politics all the time. And in that way, they are privileged.
In many ways, this is one of the strongest...
Because they're looking at the system they find themselves in. It works for them. Who the fuck am I to complain? And the conversation ends.
Strongest endorsements of China's political system, the fact that it doesn't need to dominate people's lives. Government only becomes a major concern when it is actively failing, when policies are harming people's livelihoods, when institutions are ineffective, or when systematic issues create widespread frustration. In China, the fact that most people don't feel the need to engage in constant political discourse is in itself evidence of a
fuck America, fuck China. Long live the great Romanian-Serbian Empire. Hell yeah, brother. Why have we not thunk of that yet? Why wasn't Romania in Yugoslavia? The fucking hoarding Soviet blocks, man. Damn. Remember that I used to think it was insane that any country not bordering each other would ever go to war with each other or invade them, while being fully aware of our military being in Iraq and Afghanistan and not thinking much about it because 9/11. Yeah, you went from the standard NPC perspective. That's understandable, my friend. But you've changed. The American propaganda machine in the education system is massive. It's the most propagandized people on earth.
Functional and effective system. They don't have to fight for basic necessities or worry about whether their government will provide stability. It simply does. As a result, there's a baseline level of trust that allows people to focus on their personal ambitions rather than constantly questioning whether their government is working for them. Contrast that with the United States, where politics is inescapable because so many people feel personally impacted. Whether through stagnant wages, unaffordable healthcare, rising cost of living, or a political system that often seems more focused on culture wars than solving real problems. Do you really think Americans would be this obsessed with elections or hyperfixated on every new political controversy if they actually trusted their government to function properly? Of course not. The intensity of political engagement in the US isn't a sign of a healthy democracy. It's a symptom of a system that repeatedly fails its people. Meanwhile, in China, the vast majority of people, politics is simply not a priority because it doesn't have to be. Okay, so China...
I tell my friends and family that Americans are the most propagandized population on the planet, and they react shocked. That's why they are the most propagandized population on the planet, because they don't know that they are propagandized, because they don't believe that propaganda exists domestically. That's really, really good propaganda.
These people have their own internet ecosystem, they're highly educated, and they travel the world. But what about censorship? When it comes to censorship, Chinese people are very aware of what they can and can't post online. The government is very clear about what's off limits: sedition against the government, racism, pornography, and all the other things mentioned in the beginning. It's straightforward, and the rules are well known. The difference is that in China, censorship is explicit and people understand it as part of the broader structure. In the West, however, censorship is often arbitrary and used to reinforce the dominant narratives pushed by powerful elites. Over the past few years, we've witnessed the unraveling of Western ideals of free speech and a free internet. The most recent example of this have been the systematic suppression of pro-Palestinian content, as well as cover-ups of war crimes in Gaza.
I mean, they're literally deporting people at this point.
For years, Western media outlets like the New York Times...
Imagine if China was mass deporting people because of political opinions. Still, somehow Reddit manages to make China cracking down on its billionaires a bad thing. An authoritarian method, not dignified for the 21st century. But when a corporation kills people because it denies them health coverage, that's just another Monday.
Times and platforms like Meta have controlled the narrative by limiting access to certain information and shaping public perception. But one platform that couldn't be fully controlled was TikTok, which allowed an entirely new generation to get access to information about the genocide in Gaza. This became a massive ongoing battle to ban or censor the content that was circulating on the app. In the US, the media landscape is becoming more and more consolidated, with powerful players like Jeff Bezos using outlets like the Washington Post to promote narratives that serve their own interests. Recently, Bezos issued a directive to the Post requiring coverage that promotes personal liberties and free markets, essentially signaling that the narrative is being carefully curated to maintain the status quo.
Yo, subversive history. Everybody give subversive history a dear friend of the show a follow right now, or you would be subversive and I would be very angry at you. Thank you very much for the raid, my friend. I hope you had a lovely stream. Raiders, welcome in. We're talking about the Great Wall of China. It's a chill Saturday. So stay and chill the fuck out with us. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in, motherfuckers. Enjoy your weekend.
Then there's Twitter, which brands itself as the #1 free speech site, yet is anything but free speech. Like all American social media platforms, Twitter is entirely at the mercy of its billionaire owners. Elon Musk, for instance, has been known to boost far-right accounts, support political parties like the AfD in Germany, and ban...
Thank you, Jaeger, for the gift, my friend. Anybody that was considering gifting, I am reminding you that if we hit today's sub goal, I will literally create a Xi Jinping aura farming cardboard cutout and put it in the background. Also, make our beautiful raiders feel nice and welcome by gifting them some of that hard-earned money you had, so that you can feel a greater sense of oneness and community, and in fact that you can now call yourself a child soldier.
Or unverified users who disagree with him.
Thank you, Balkan Partisan. That's what I'm talking about. Xi Jinping cardboards and community. This is what this stream is all about, baby. Let's go.
Rather than...
Show them the G-Bucks. Throw some G-Bucks at me and I will give you a G. Red Pen's G-Thought vid.
This video presents a summary of key points contained.
Oh, Red Pen is very, very decent with overviews and stuff. Pretty cool. We can watch it. I mean, I read Socialism with Chinese Characteristics. We could do it on the theory stream.
And a platform that fosters...
Thank you, Jaeger, for another 3 months. Thank you, brother.
Open dialogue. Twitter has become a toxic
You're funny. I love you, Carmen. No, I love you, and you're funny.
cesspool where far-right extremists thrive, promoting everything from race science to conspiracy theories, as long as it serves Musk's personal agenda. Although Chinese censorship is real and targeted, if anything, Western censorship is more insidious, operating under the guise of free speech while serving corporate interests. China's censorship is public and predictable, and for the
it was The Governance of China by Xi Jinping. I read that thing.
Vast majority of Chinese internet users and instances, censorship is irrelevant to their...
Didn't know you were on Twitch. Oh, I am for a while. Welcome. I'm mostly on Twitch. I'm not really on YouTube anymore.
Online experience.
Though I'm going to post new videos soon.
Now let's get to the major key that underlines this entire conversation. You can always get a VPN. A VPN allows you to access the internet in China just as you would anywhere in the world. Which brings us to today's sponsor. No, I'm fucking with you. There's no sponsor. But there is a
fucking legend
Patreon as per request. So if you want to check
that was funny.
That out, go ahead. Thank you. But in all seriousness, if you're in China and you want to look at the Western internet, the barriers to do so are not large at all. I like this system a lot because many people won't learn about and then install a VPN until college when they are much more mature and able to approach the Western internet in a much better way. The default internet is so much better as a general internet for society. Even if you have no problem with pornography or violence being so accessible, I think we can all agree that it's not good for people at such young ages to be accessing that type of content. I know that I certainly would have benefited from not...
You're trying to tell me that Gooners are not welcome to China? That's it. I will no longer be a China shill. We are cutting our relationship, Xi Jinping. I'm removing this sub-goal. I don't want an anti-Gooner anywhere even close to me. I'm kidding. Get them Gooners right now, brother.
Seeing pornography and executions from literally the age of 7 years old. The VPN is always accessible for those who want to use the Western internet, but I think it's great that the default internet is the way that it is. Now for the question I know you've all been thinking, what about Tiananmen Square? The event itself is a topic that deserves its own video, which will come.
Yo, Laub Frau, you crazy motherfucker. Hello,
motherfuckers.
What's up, my friend? Thank you for the biddies. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's very, very, very kind.
But let's address it briefly since I know it's likely on your mind. Despite this event being censored on the Chinese internet, many Chinese people, especially older generations, are still aware of what happened. But let's take a step back and look at how Tiananmen Square is used in the narrative against China today. If you look at the comment section of any video that talks positively about China, chances are one of the top comments will be, what about Tiananmen Square? As if they've just delivered the ultimate big brain.
Oh my God, complete destruction. Complete destruction.
Original take.
Like, every single country on planet Earth had a Tiananmen Square, let's say, scale event, but you don't see anybody throwing that type of event at other nationalities. But with China, you got them because you're so epic. It's literally like brain dead Wojak behavior, dude. There you go. Dude, nice try, Ling Ling. Nice try, but no. And then, obviously, the Tank Man. I love my freedom of speech. Such an advanced society. Surely you can tell me about what major event happened on the June 4th of 1989. Yeah. They're so funny. An American will close his eyes to absolutely everything. An American patriot and nationalist.
Although it was
like they will live on the street in squalor, fucking doing fentanyl all day, but they'll be like, well, if I was in China, the fentanyl would be worse and the streets would be colder. At least they get to be homeless in the good old U.S. of A. I wouldn't want to be homeless nowhere else, brother.
Tragedy. Let's be real. This single event, which took place nearly 40 years ago, is used to discredit every Chinese achievement, bolster the narrative of Western superiority, and dismiss the entirety of China as a whole. The West has expertly leveraged this single tragedy by China to deflect from their own historical and ongoing atrocities. Now, what's fascinating to me is that applying the same standards of violence to discredit a government, the West's record is unimaginably worse. Since its establishment in 1949, China, with the exception
it's
of...
It's like, imagine an American posts something positive about the United States, and all the comments are, but what about Black Wall Street? What about Black Wall Street? What about Black Wall Street when over 1,200 homes were basically fucking destroyed? One of the only times in American history where the military was deployed domestically to in a warlike manner to completely destroy everybody there, right? What about Black Wall Street, right? It's absurd. Thank you very much, Rialan, for the gifty. Thank you very much for paying forward. That is the coolest fucking thing that any chatter can do. That will be the most fucking sustainable thing for every Twitch account if most chatters did that. Thank you very much.
Tiananmen Square and one border skirmish with Vietnam has risen overwhelmingly peacefully. Even if we take the largest Western estimates of Tiananmen Square and say that thousands of...
Yeah, or the Philadelphia bombing, there's like 50 different examples. Absolutely.
Upon thousands died. This is still a drop of water compared to the ocean of death caused by Western intervention around the world. Not even considering the horrors of colonization and slavery, millions of people have died in Western-led wars in the modern era. The Iraq War, the Afghanistan conflict, the Vietnam War alone accounted for millions of deaths. The total death toll of these conflicts is staggering, with estimates around 1 million people dying in Iraq alone, over 170,000 in Afghanistan, and 2 to 3 million in Vietnam. And those are just the wars Americans generally know about. How many know that during the Korean War, the US dropped more bombs and napalm on Korea than were used in the entire Pacific theater of World War II? In fact, 75% of North Korean towns and cities were destroyed by US bombings, killing 2 to 3 million, with 70% of the deaths being civilians. How many young Americans are aware of the My Lai massacre, where 504 civilians, mostly women and children, were sexually assaulted and murdered by US Army soldiers? I just recently traveled to Laos. How many people know that American bombers dropped bombs on Laos for nearly a decade from 1964 to 1973, all the while keeping it completely secret from its own people? America dropped a plane full of bombs on the country every 8 minutes, 24 hours a day, for 9 years. During this campaign on Laos, which is only an area the size of Oregon, villages of innocent villagers who had no involvement in the Vietnam War lived in misery for a decade. Bombers were simply ordered to go out and bomb without even having targets. As a result, Laos is the most bombed country per capita in history. Over 200 million unexploded bombs still litter the land, causing injuries and deaths to this day. This isn't just abroad, too. How many Americans today know that the US dropped a bomb on a black neighborhood in Philadelphia, killing 11 people, 5 of whom children? Or the Kent State massacre of student protesters protesting the Vietnam War? This information is technically available, but how many Americans know about this or even care?
Maybe we should all go into American comment sections and remind them the way they do about Tiananmen Square. I don't know.
How many even know what Laos is? Your average young Chinese person might not know about the hundreds of lives lost at Tiananmen Square in 1989. Your average American knows about a fraction of the millions of lives ended by his or her government, which has continued far past 1989 to the present day as I'm speaking these words. You tell me which is worse. And it's not just the US. Look at Japan's actions in World War II. They murdered up to 20 million Chinese civilians during the invasion of China. Yet we have very little historical remembrance of their crimes, especially compared to Nazi Germany, even when they killed millions more people. The Japanese government actively hides these atrocities from their citizens and still honors the soldiers responsible. This fact gets zero attention in the media because Japan remains subservient to the US. Ask yourselves, why don't you see destruction of Nanking as the top comment under the next travel video you see about Japan? Their youth are woefully unaware of this fact, and it's orders of magnitude worse than Tiananmen Square. This isn't simple whataboutism. Unlike the countless Western atrocities,
apologies guys and gays, I was just blowing my nose.
Tiananmen Square is used to discredit every single Chinese achievement and label the entire country with the same brush. We judge China by its worst mistake and America by its latest. You could use the same...
It's the same scenario like when somebody tells you, yo, go live in North Korea if you like socialism so much. Tell them, okay, go live in Ethiopia if you like capitalism so much.
Logic in commenting Hiroshima and Nagasaki under any positive video of America. We hold utopian standards for China simply because it has a different economic system. The relatively much fewer mistakes that they have made in the past is used to discredit its governance system, never the other way around. Now let's debunk misconception number 2, that Chinese people have no ability to voice concerns, critique the government, or push for change. A major critique of China's firewall is that it removes the right to criticize the government. In the US, freedom of speech is a core belief. People can say whatever they want about their leaders. But does this actually lead to change, or are people just screaming into the void? If you are complaining about the government online, the assumption is that you want those issues addressed. Otherwise, you're just venting into empty space. And in the US, that's exactly what happens. Professors Martin Gillens from Princeton University and Benjamin Page from Northwestern University analyzed over 20 years of data on federal policy decisions to answer a simple question: does the US government represent its people? The answer was a resounding no. Their research showed that affluent Americans, corporations, and special interest groups have far more influence over policy than ordinary citizens.
Oh, are we surprised, chat? Is their brain blowing right now?
Even when 70% of Americans support a policy change, it only has about a 40% chance of being implemented. In short, the US functions much more like an oligarchy, not a democracy. In the US, you can post all day about government failures, crumbling infrastructure, unaffordable healthcare, stagnant wages, endless wars, but none of it will make a difference. You are yelling into the void.
If this happened in China, you'd see it twice a day. Remember the Hong Kong protests? We couldn't hear the end of that.
Give me some cops!
Okay, let's go, folks. Trespassers, back. Let's go.
Pushes them on the ground, get up.
Extremely popular positions at the nationwide level, like ending the genocide in Gaza and a universal healthcare system, aren't even mainstream political discourse, despite massive demonstrations across every city. That's how far removed the government is from the needs of the people. In the UK, people have been jailed and had their homes raided simply for discussing protests over Zoom. In the US, demonstrations are met with violent crackdowns, and protesters risk losing their jobs or even their education for opposing government policies. Germany has outright banned certain forms of protest altogether. So while Westerners pride themselves on freedom of speech, the reality is that speech without power is meaningless. It would be one thing if my argument was simply that neither America nor Chinese public sentiment affects policy, making it a wash. But that's not the case. Chinese governance is...
But that's the strange allure and power of capitalism. If enough people believe they have a particular standard of life, even though they don't see it materially manifest in front of them, then their political power, their political motivation is directly taken away through a very impressive pacifying mechanism. What I'm talking about is Americans are convinced they're the freest and most prosperous people on the planet. Are they? Absolutely not. But their strong belief in American exceptionalism, which stimulates that sort of cope, quite literally keeps the country afloat and makes it borderline unpenetrable from criticism, impenetrable from criticism or foreign positive influence.
Far more responsive to public needs than its Western counterparts.
What many Chinese have problem with Western media is the stereotypes about China. If you are content with stereotypes,
still, like Americans will say that people from other countries are completely brainwashed. They follow whatever the party line is, etc., etc. Yet in the United States, they just managed to convince everyone that there is no party line as they follow the party line. As a professional propagandist and a marketeer, it's very impressive. It is very, very impressive. The American exceptionalist pitch is going to keep that project together with duct tape for many more decades to come. It is a very strong and ingrained pitch that they, self-regulate themselves into continuing to believe.
You miss so many things. If BBC broadcasts something,
it's like it looks like a psychosis. You will have someone literally step over dying, homeless, drug-addicted, disease-ridden people every morning on their way to work. And they'll think that's normal. And that anywhere else on the planet, it must be worse than this. It's a national level psychosis. Everything is crumbling around you. You're living in apocalypse light. In some cities in the States, literal apocalypse. And yet you continue on with your day as if everything is chill. This obviously happens in other places as well. Far more impoverished. Far more fucked up than the United States. But there the people know it. There the people very openly say, guys, we live in a fucking shithole, dude. Our government sucks balls, man. The system is literally killing us. Well, in the United States, they're like, this is what it is. It is what it is. Because that's the power of American exceptionalism. If it's this bad here, it must be worse somewhere else. So let's keep quiet and let's be grateful that we get to be here. Not only do they think it's normal, they think it's just punishment for not succeeding under capitalism. Absolutely. What was that quote? In America, everyone hates the poor. Even the poor hate the poor.
They are happy to always mention this communist dictatorship, this autocracy. No, actually, with this kind of label, you cannot understand this China as it is. But if you watch BBC or CNN or read Economist and try to understand China, it will be a failure. It's impossible.
Multiple parties fight for political power and everyone voting on them. That's the only path to salvation to the long-suffering.
This is Eric Lee, a Shanghai entrepreneur, educated in America, and typical of a new, confident, outspoken political class.
At the moment, the Chinese, the party state, has proven an extraordinary ability to change. I mean, I make the joke. In America, you can change political parties, but you can't change policies. In China, you cannot change the party, but you can change policies. So in the 65 or 66 years, China is being run by one single party, yet the political changes that have taken place in China in this past 66 years have been wider and broader and greater than probably any other major country in modern memory.
So in that time, China ceased to be communist.
Did any country ever, respectfully?
Is that what you're saying?
Well, China is a market economy, and it's a vibrant market economy, but it is.
You're absolutely correct. A co-worker saw a homeless man and told me, why doesn't he go to a shelter? Like, bro, shelters are overcrowded, but they will never ask why the fuck the shelter is packed to begin with. Exactly. China operates with multiple modes of production, with socialism in a dominant position where it can keep control of capitalism. Yeah, that's one take, absolutely. Thank you, Reconstruction, for not doing what needed to be done. Socialism, exactly, Barry, mama.
It's not a capitalist country. Here's why. There's no way a group of billionaires could control the Politburo, as billionaires control American policymaking. So in China, you have a vibrant market economy, but capital does not rise above political authority. Capital does not have enshrined rights. In America, capital, the interest of capital, and capital itself has risen above the American nation. The political authority cannot check the power of capital. And that's why America is a capitalist country, but China is not.
In China, you can't change the
I agree. That is an astute analysis.
party, but the policies change all the time. The Chinese government is highly
The
flexible.
only question remaining there is whether the central authority will utilize their boot on the neck of capital as a means to rise up the average standard of life for most of its working population, or all of its working population, rendering capital to an extent subservient to the working class, or whether they're going to use it to just make themselves richer and enshrine their political power forever and ever, basically recreating a new class of exceptionally wealthy bureaucrats. History, the future, will tell us whether this current stage of the development of the socialist or the Chinese socialist project is going to actually lead to socialism, or if it's just a bunch of major cope on all of our ends. To believe you know whether it's the first or the latter is delusional, because you don't know. You can be skeptical or you can be supportive. Those are the two options you have, and both are. I am, for example, I am very enthusiastic about it, but I completely understand all of those who are skeptical, and history will show. I don't care who ends up being right or wrong. I just hope they do not betray the revolution. Now, some might say they already have. Some might not. We can agree to disagree and see where history takes us. The dialectic will unravel itself if you want it or not, and whether they have overcome the contradictions of capitalist society or not will be seen through the coming decades, or God bless, centuries of their particular development.
And constantly adapts to public demands. According to Western research, trust and support for the Chinese government consistently hovers around 90%, an unheard of figure compared to most Western governments, which would be happy to get 40% approval ratings. You don't need a study to confirm this. If you're in the West, go outside.
Anyways, if you want Xi Jinping to always stand behind me and intimidate me to not be critical about the Chinese Communist Party, gift a sub, and if we reach today's goal, I will literally put a Xi Jinping cupboard behind me. I have promised.
And ask
this is your only chance. If we don't hit the daily goal today, I am never giving you this chance again, ever.
People how they feel about their government. Meanwhile, in China, the overwhelming majority support their government. This isn't due to repression. It's because people see tangible improvements in their lives. Why wouldn't they? Over the past few decades, life in China has consistently gotten better. Essential costs like water, electricity, and phone bills are highly affordable. Housing is primarily for living, not speculative investment. Universal healthcare is guaranteed. Public transportation is extensive, efficient, and cheap.
Like, to Americans in chat, imagine the vast majority of your countrymen owning their own homes. That is insane.
The fundamentals of daily life, things that people in the West constantly struggle with, are treated as human rights, not profit opportunities. Where Americans scream into the void with no results, the Chinese government actively seeks opinion and implements changes based on real concerns. The government conducts extensive polling across provinces to identify key issues, and a rigorous civil service system ensures that only the most capable officials are promoted. Performance matters. If an official fails to deliver on poverty alleviation or local governance, they are replaced. Unlike the West, where politicians fail upward, China's system enforces genuine accountability. Democratic participation in China exists in various forms, particularly at the local level. A prime example is the 12345 hotline, a 24/7 national complaint system where citizens can report concerns on everything from potholes to wage disputes. Every year, the system processes hundreds of millions of calls. It has a 96 resolution rate. The system ensures that problems are...
No way. Seriously? No way. I'd be genuinely impressed if that's correct. 90+% resolution rate. That is insane. That is fucking crazy.
...are addressed swiftly, something unimaginable in most Western cities. In addition to elections at the local level, it's
76 is what I read. That would be brutally impressive as well. That would be insanely impressive. If it's more than 10%, a helpline that will immediately send out teams to take care of whatever ails your neighborhood at that time is crazy. You have to utilize publicly owned logistics companies, publicly owned construction firms, the police force. Imagine an American cop getting called that there's some guy throwing trash everywhere and them actually going and helping. Absurd. I ain't gonna pick up nobody's fucking trash. What the fuck?
It's also common for local officials to give...
Because I have the same thing in my city and it fucking sucks. Like, I all the time take photos that I have a trash problem outside. Because a lot of people are renovating their homes now for some fucking reason. And they don't want to pay some extra money for the government to basically supply you with a massive dumpster that they park outside of the house. So you can throw out construction material, but also old furniture and so on into it. That then gets picked up by a larger truck afterwards. So they just go and they dump all their shit in the fucking normal trash, which fills it up. And so that when everybody's throwing their normal trash, the trash falls out of the actual containers and makes everything look very fucking shitty. And janitorial services, the hygiene teams that pass with the truck and pick them up, they used to be 10 out of 10, but it got fucking privatized, and now they probably give absurdly tiny fucking wages, probably not unionized either. And I understand the dudes, driving the trucks and picking up the trash for not wanting to, for example, pass through every street. They act crazy and they, miss a street or two for like 2 days. And in those 2 days, there's fucking trash absolutely everywhere. Local trash company been on strike for 55 days. No trash pickup. Government has done nothing. But certainly worded letters. My neighborhood is starting to attract vermin. Jesus Christ, what the fuck do you do with the trash? They just want to get paid like $17 an hour. Like this is awful, man. I hope they get it. But also, what the fuck do you do with the trash?
About their personal WeChat or phone numbers, allowing direct communication between citizens and government representatives. All of this results in a system that in practice is far more susceptible to the will of the majority than the illusion of democracy in the West. It's simply a different model of governance, one that prioritizes accountability and tangible results over empty rhetoric. Short of openly calling to overthrow...
But yeah, that's my Karen. That's my Karen thing. Trash is really my Karen thing. I don't like... It's a Karen thing because, obviously the people doing the remodeling of their apartment don't want to spend extra money because they probably don't have it for the big private dumping thing. I understand the material conditions, but I also am, a normal fucking human being that doesn't like trash outside of their fucking building. So yes, I will Karen about it. I mean, respectfully, the bare minimum expected from someone participating in society is to be able to get rid of their trash in a regulated manner. Okay, it's not a lot. Okay, I don't think it's a lot to ask someone to properly throw out their shit.
Throw the government.
I mean,
Chinese citizens have extensive, effective channels for addressing issues in their daily lives, arguably more so than in the West. Now that we've dispelled the misconceptions of the firewall, let's look at the firewall's advantages. Before we get into the advantages, please take a second to like and subscribe to the channel.
By the way, subscribe. This guy's fucking cool.
Now let's get back to it. The first of the advantages of China's internet firewall is the lack of violence, hyper-accessible pornography, toxicity, and division that plague Western social media. The current state of the internet in the West reflects a deeply unhealthy society. Take X, often described as the West's real-time information hub or the internet's town square. It has devolved into a breeding ground for far-right radicalization, misinformation, and outrage bait. Everyone's experience may vary, but for me, scrolling through X means seeing dead children and dead bodies from a Western bombing, a politician defending that bombing, pornography, a right-wing meme promoting race science.
Yo, Hank, you fucking psycho. Welcome back. Thank you very much for the 8 months, Hank. Hank is back. Where have you been, Hank? You've been on your serial killer run, or what you've been doing?
A viral video of students attacking a teacher in an American school. More Elon Musk.
Can we get the link to the video? It's not there. Oh my God, I apologize so much.
Wonderful, a new child soldier.
Thank you for telling me. I am so sorry. Please subscribe to a very underrated channel. Thank you. Kept nice. Always keep yourself nice when you subscribe and contribute to me buying a Xi Jinping cardboard cutout. Thank you very, very much.
Posting about some absurd right-wing take.
I'm about to start firing some cops, eh? No pinned link.
And then an ad.
I'm kidding. You're fine.
For Trump merchandise. Algorithms differ, but the common thread is rage, division, and nihilism. Every swipe brings a new reason to be angry, disgusted, or hopeless. Western social media is toxic. It actively fosters division along gender, racial, religious, and gender.
Clinton is innocent, Maxwell. Yeah, I saw it. It's probably been covered forever. So that's why I didn't even want to touch it. Breaking: Bill Clinton never went to Epstein Island, according to Maxwell. Yeah, absolutely. She also said that there's no high-ranking political figures that have ever interacted with Epstein Island or whatever, you know?
Generational lines. The endless stream of violence, gambling, and disinformation is a symptom of a dysfunctional society. Now imagine trying to explain to a Chinese person that they're missing out on this. Why would anyone want their online space to be filled with outrage, hatred, and despair? In contrast, Chinese social media platforms offer a completely different experience. One that doesn't...
Yeah, the United States is like a toxic gaslighter in a relationship. They're like, oh, I fucking hate everything about my life, but it's definitely better than your life because, well, it's your life. What I'm trying to say is Americans using the internet in its current quote-unquote free form, hating their life and being like, hey, why don't the Chinese have access to this thing that's going to make me hate my life?
Incentivize extremism, doom scrolling, or conflict. Again, if you're skeptical, I highly recommend downloading RedNote or looking at other Chinese social media apps and seeing for yourself. The second major advantage of China's internet firewall is the lack of disinformation poisoning society. In America, the sheer number of people disconnected from reality who are lost to conspiracy theories and ideological brain rot is staggering. It's honestly really depressing. It feels like every time I take an Uber or talk to someone above the age of 55, there's about a 50% chance that they'll start ranting about some ancient secret societies controlling the government or some other bizarre conspiracy.
Kobe Bryant was assassinated by the Clintons.
Which is why did the framework created by QAnon and Trump propaganda cause an innumerable amount of people to jump headfirst down the rabbit hole, endangering their safety, lives, and freedom.
We will not accept socialism as our economic and political system.
Communism is communism.
We will not accept communism.
I love these lards, bro.
Australia has returned to becoming a prison island all over again. It's now a new penal colony as a prison.
There was no racism in the United States. There was no racism. There was none.
You are not going to take away our trophy bear. We will never let our country go to the globalists. George Soros, you can go to hell.
Jesus is the king of this.
He's our king, and Trump is our president. Yes, ma'am.
Disinformation is widespread, and the internet in the West is designed to pit people against each other with algorithms that amplify negativity and outrage. Society is fractured, and large segments of the population no longer live in a shared reality. Now compare this with Chinese social media. It's a completely different world. The content is overwhelmingly positive, and you simply don't see the unhinged conspiracy cults gaining traction. Why is this? because the poor material conditions and lack of education that breed such radicalization don't exist nearly as much in China. In the West, people's lives are deteriorating, both materially and spiritually, so they turn to fantasy explanations for their suffering. They're told capitalism isn't the problem, so they invent magical scapegoats.
I have the sneaking suspicion we're being manipulated, and I'm paying you, thus proving the suspicion. Haha, that is a fallacy, my friend. There is a conspiracy that the Jews want us all to do drugs, and I guess Jews do want us all to do drugs because I'm about to do this line of coke. That is a fallacy, but thank you for the bits, none. All the same.
China, the basic needs are met, public services function, and the education system actually works. As a result, the psychological conditions that fuel mass delusion are virtually non-existent. Now let's get to the third benefit, the economic and strategic necessity of the firewall. Beyond public discourse, one of the most important benefits of China's internet firewall is the massive economic advantage it provides. Even if you have disagreed with everything I've said so far, the economic aspect alone is reason enough to have this firewall. Platforms like Google, Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are not just social media or search engines, they are critical infrastructure in the modern world. They dominate commerce, data collection, and digital services, siphoning productivity, revenue, talent, and sovereignty from every country that depends on them. For nations in Europe, Latin America, and Africa, the absence of domestic equivalents to these platforms has led to stagnation or non-existent tech sectors. The US controls these digital monopolies, meaning that the revenue generated in these foreign markets is funneled back to America instead of being reinvested locally. The impact of this cannot be overstated. These platforms act like digital tax collectors, skimming off a percentage of every transaction, collecting data on every user and ensuring that major technological developments benefits America first.
A new child soldier.
Oh damn, there's more shit. Oh, we got Mexicans, hell yeah, brother. Somebody do something to the Albanian flag. You gotta help me out here. You gotta help. You know what? You can do something really funny. Like if you just repaint two parts of the flag, you could make it into a Serbian flag, because both of them have the two-headed chicken on top of it. Leave it. What? No, I will not allow myself to be bullied by my own chat like this. Okay. And good job to whoever used Cyrillic. You knew what you were doing, and you actually wrote it properly. Bravo, hvala puno. Only 74 paints, yeah. I don't need a lot of paints. I have real human beings like yourselves that I utilize. Okay? Okay. Why do you not like the Albanian flag? You must not be informed about... very niche Yugopnik Twitch lore, okay? We are afraid of the Albanians to quote them, they are the founders of the human race, came down as aliens and mated with chimpanzees and created the first OG Aryan, Albanian Aryan, okay? Why are you guys always absolutely out of fucking control? We start doing a nice thing, and then you take it and you throw it back at me and packaged and covered in shit. Yeah, somebody's making marks and angles right here. We have completely colonized Chattanooga with our very niche communist references. Like, the people of Chattanooga must be so fucking confused on why there's a whole corner of their city just completely dedicated to communist shit. Oh wait, somebody's actually painting it over. Haha, we definitely have Serbs in chat. 100%, we definitely have Serbs in chat. So petty. I love it. So petty. The loyalists are at it again, bro. Was Jakub Albanian? Of course, my friend. Aryan Albanian. There's a reason both start with A, and there's a couple being made here. These are very nice. This is going to be impressive when it's done. It's going to be very impressive. Let me help you out. Let me help you out, my friend. What blue are we using? This is blue. Yo, Patriots in chat. Come help a brother out. Some of you are painting it red back, motherfuckers. Patriots in chat, unite. We will not have the Bunkerites do this to us, okay? We will not have the Bunkerites do this to us. I refuse to yield to Bunkerite propaganda. Ей, я бачува матер, разумете? No more bunkers. Am I literally just fighting all of you on this? And it's just me and one fellow patriot properly dedicating themselves to the fight. It's just me versus my chat. That's so fucking pathetic. I feel betrayed. Okay, whoever's doing that, you're a fucking asshole. You're actually unironically an asshole. Oh, no disrespect to my beautiful Albanians, of course. I love Albanians. Just, you know, not right next to my face. Yeah, I got help. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. Woo! The blue strip gets wider every time. Yeah, I'm not good at painting. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm out of paints. So now you prove your loyalty, chat. Don't worry, Yugo. I'll join the fight with you. Thank you, my friend Robo. Thank you very much. Nemoj bre da psuješ, bre. Ej, bre, nemoj da psuješ. Because you support Great Albania, you will be accepted as a proud Illyrian and will be accepted into the rank of Emperor of Illyria. Exclamation point Albania if you want to hear about my opinion on Albania. Just exclamation point Albania in chat, and you will see why we are talking so much about this. Dude, there's base people that are actually helping out. Yeah, the base are winning. Yeah, baby. Woo! Eat shit. See, then cope, you fucking bunkerites. No, we already won. We already won. Done. Okay? Done. Who wrote poop on top? Because now, whichever side wins is going to be automatically denied because it says poop on top. Oh, Lord. It's Serbia time. So I literally just have a bunch of Quislings in chat, is what you're trying to tell me. And Quislings that have a lot of paint points. Of course, you have a lot of paint points, you fucking rich traders. This is so sad. A Croatian wrote it. That's funny. Here's the location if you want to come and help me. This is in Chattanooga. Yeah, so many red ones. Yeah, you're just doing it out of spite to me. You're doing it out of spite. I mean, you want spite? You want spite? You want spite? Okay, there's spite. There's spite. You want spite? You want me to be nasty? Anti-bunker gang. Paint over the chicken. Anti-bunker gang. The chicken is you can paint the chicken. I allow it. You want to be petty, motherfuckers? Let me show you petty. Fuck the chicken, because they won't be able to paint it again, because it's more complex than the colors. So you can paint the chicken. Okay, don't fuck up the actual artwork on the side. Don't be fucking idiots, please. Why the fuck are you doing this? We're having a nice fucking time fucking around the fucking national flag. Why the fuck did you do it on the thing? You dumb fucking cretin. Fucking idiots. Somebody took a lot of time to make that thing. Jesus Christ. There's always one guy that takes it too far, you know? You're like, oh, let's just wrestle. Like, I don't know what typical dudes do. They just wrestle, and then some guy breaks another guy's arm. Like, this is not serious. It's the Albanians that restored. Thank you very much, Anne. And you're lucky I don't know who you are. I would immediately ban you, you dumb fuck. Anyways, yeah, you guys have fun with the flag. I'm going to go eat something. Today's stream was great. I'll see you tomorrow for the big Sunday stream. Before I go, though, last chance for Xi Jinping cardboard cutout. Because I'm not getting it because of what we have over there. We have not reached 100. So no Xi Jinping cardboard cutout. He's not going to be aura farming in the background. Don't say you didn't have the ability. Don't say you didn't have the ability. I'll watch the Civil War for 2 more minutes and give you a chance to properly secure a Xi Jinping cutout. But yes, you're not based... what do you call it? Based China supporters the way I thought you were. Not as base as a Balkan taxi driver. Nobody's as base as a Balkan taxi driver, trust me. Let me rate James from the internet, dear friend of the show. Great guy. Go say hi to James from the internet. He is James, and he is on the internet. And thank you for a grand old time. I'll see you tomorrow with some higher energy levels, okay? Love you guys. Have a great night. Thank you very much. Mwah, mwah.
We will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement.